This month we're going to talk a little bit about copyright law, and specifically in this video I want to deal with the practicalities of it, because in the accompanying article I get more into the legal and theoretical side. So practically, what do you do with copyright? So first off, I think you're going to have to just acknowledge that violations are going to occur, and they're going to occur somewhat frequently in the school context. I've got Tigger joining me here. Tigger is a copyright violation. We'll get back to him in a second. So prevention is really, I think, the key for schools to dealing with copyright violations in a couple of ways. Number one, prevention is really the best way to deal with copyright law from a legal standpoint. No copyright violations in the first place is, of course, the best legal remedy. So how do you deal with prevention? Well, I have a few ideas. Idea number one is all about policy. Okay, so I'm looking across the states this last month as I'm writing this article up, and I'm seeing some schools with some pretty strong policies on copyright, and I'm seeing some pretty weak policies on copyright. Strong policies don't necessarily mean long policies, but I think the strong policies have at least a few elements. Number one, they deal with copyright directly. They make reference to both fair use and the educational guidelines that have been published by the Department of Education and Congress to help schools deal with copyright violations. Also, they deal with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and make schools, the wireless network that schools are employing, not liable for the copyright violations that are occurring on it, as well as potentially dealing with the copyright rights of the school itself and which rights the school wishes to enforce against the teachers, for instance, and which they do not. Having those strong policies, I think, is a great first step. I think the second big step that you all probably need to be taking as schools is around digital citizenship. You know, the new E-rate funding that came down includes a digital citizenship provision that requires schools to engage with digital citizenship for their students before those students access the wireless networks. Well, perfect. As you all are doing digital citizenship education in your schools anyway to comply with E-rate, try to incorporate as much copyright education in that digital citizenship education as you can. So that's an easy place, an easy victory to be super preventative with copyright law. And the last place that I think you all should be real careful is the one area where I see schools potentially getting into trouble is including copyright violations in their curriculum. So let's say in second grade, they were students in art, second grade art or third grade art, whatever, were tasked with creating a reproduction of Tigger here on the board. That is going to be very hard to explain away in the courts. And so just keeping an eye on the actual curricular structure of the school and getting as many copyright violations out of the curricular structure as possible.